Now, this movie, it came out 20 years ago. I saw that the movie came out in 2004. So at the recording of this video, it's 2024. So that means this movie is 20 years old. This movie, I remember watching this movie, and it stars Anthony Mackie, which is the gentleman to the left, and Kerry Washington, the beautiful young lady in the center. And it's a Spike Lee joint. Spike Lee is the director. And let me say that I enjoy Spike Lee movies. And this is a Spike Lee movie. And I want to say that I was excited about watching this movie. And when I watched it, I'll tell you why I was excited. I was excited because I was going to be able to see lesbians, black women lesbians in film by the director Spike Lee. I was like, oh yes, this is going to be an experience. Well, it was an experience, and I turned my attention to this film. I was very focused on the film and everything that played out in the film. And I was disappointed. I was disappointed. I will describe this movie as a lesbian film failure. And I'm going to explain to you why I think this way about this movie. And I titled my video, "This movie paints a man's twisted fantasy about lesbians." My name is Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. I do provide a lesbian perspective on my YouTube channel, and I provide content for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and LGBTQ plus people. And I uphold and discuss living an authentic life. If that interests you, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Like and share this video. And if you are someone who does not like to know about a movie because you have not seen it, well, this is a spoiler alert. So if you don't like spoilers about movies, then you may not want to, continue listening to the video. But if you're all right with it, then stay tuned, because this is a classic movie. It came out in 2004. I've seen it more than once. And the name of the movie is called She Hate Me. And the movie kind of starts out where it describes the economic crisis of the time. There was a lot of very political and economic crisis going on during this period, and they depict it in the movie. So the man that stars in the movie, Anthony Mackie, as I recall, I believe he lost his job. He was either fired or laid off due to a lot of scamming within the company, and he was unemployed. He was actually engaged to the beautiful woman in the center. Now, I don't recall their fictitious character names in the movie. I'm actually saying their real names. But Kerry Washington played as his fiance in the movie, and they were engaged to be married. And the way the movie turned out was pretty complex. There was a lot of twist in the movie, but let's just fast forward, and I'm going to say that the man was coming home, I think, after being, laid off or terminated from his job. And he came in, to his surprise, of seeing his fiance in bed with the woman. They were engaged in very passionate lesbian sex. And it blew his mind. He couldn't believe what he was seeing, of course, and he was devastated. To make a long story short, he found out that his fiance really didn't want to get married to him. She really didn't want to get married to him. And the reason why is because she identified as a lesbian. Now, he was willing to still be with her, even though his heart was broken because she cheated on him. She was not wanting to commit to him because she gave him back his engagement ring, and she was ready to just move on with the woman that she was involved with, the woman that he saw her having sex with. So she was wanting to move on with her, but he wanted to still be with her. And she did not want to commit to him. And she made it clear, I don't want to commit to you because, well, I am a lesbian. Now, he wanted to know from her if she is willing to leave her lesbian partner and try to reunite with him. And she adamantly let him know, I am not leaving her at all. No. As a matter of fact, she was letting him know that she was in love with this woman, and there was no possible way she was going to leave her woman for him. And, it was pretty upsetting. It was an upsetting scene. He was upset because, she cheated on him, and she didn't disclose to him that she was a lesbian, and they were engaged. And she said that she wanted to just go ahead and cut all ties with him and be with this woman. So that's what happened for a period. I mean, I don't know how long of a time it was. Some time passed, and then they ran into each other again. The man who is Anthony Mackie, and the woman who is Kerry Washington, they ran into each other some kind of way. And he was still in love with her, and he wanted to rekindle the relationship. And she made it clear that she was still with her lesbian partner. They were still together. So he basically explained to her that he was in love with her. He did not mind if she was with this woman. He just still wanted to be with her. And financially, he was in a crisis. After the experience with the company that he was fired from or let go from, it left a bad reputation for him. He was blacklisted. So he was financially struggling. But before he was terminated from that job, he was doing very well. He was living real good. But he still wanted this woman. He was in love with her, and he was determined to have her. And guess what? She ended up sleeping with him. She went on and had sex with him one night. It was just, he was feeling down and out because of his situation financially, and he had these puppy dog eyes and just telling her how much I'm in love with you, and I was hurt, but I've gotten over it. I'm fine with you being a lesbian, but I need you. I want you. I love you. And she sleeps with him and has sex with him. And at this point, next thing I know, they're together. They're back in a relationship with each other. But she's still saying she's a lesbian. And she's still with her lesbian female partner. And her lesbian female partner is in the dark about all of this. She doesn't know. And that's the woman to the far right of the picture of Kerry Washington. And excuse me, I don't know her real name, but she is depicted as the lesbian woman who is in a lesbian relationship with the actress Kerry Washington in the movie. And this woman, Kerry's lesbian partner, is madly in love with Kerry. They go back. They've been with each other from day one. And she has no clue that she rekindled her relationship with the man. And she ends up catching her lesbian partner, Kerry, involved with this man who played in the movie, and his real name is Anthony. She caught them and she was devastated. She was hurt. Kind of like a boomerang thing. I mean, if you... It's really unclear if she knew that her lesbian partner Kerry was with this man. I don't know. I don't recall if she knew, if the lesbian female partner knew. I don't know. But Kerry kept, obviously, everybody in the dark, the man and her lesbian partner. She didn't let anybody know that she was involved with both of them. She was basically in what they call the down low. She was on the down low pretty much. But the actress Kerry Washington, who played this lesbian woman, eventually she let the man know, look, I'm in love with my lesbian partner. I can't live without her. I know we're with each other again, but I can't live without her. And I'm not going to break up with her. So what are we going to do? And he was just like, why don't we all be together? And she looked at him kind of like, what? And he was like, yeah, why don't we all be together? I'm in love with you. You obviously are still in love with me because you're with me. And I know that you love her. I know you want to be with her. So why don't we all just be a big family? And I think it was also along the lines where this lesbian woman, Kerry, wanted children and they wanted a family. So all of a sudden, she introduces her lesbian female partner to her male partner. And it's the first time that they meet, and it was extremely awkward. And next thing I know, they're all of a sudden in a polygyny relationship. They're all just under one roof, and they're just this one big happy family. All of a sudden, this woman who identifies as a lesbian and her female partner is a lesbian, all of a sudden now they're heavily involved with the man. And he's sleeping with both of them, having sex with both of these women. And then it just goes on and on and on to something even more complex and just odd. He comes up with this wonderful idea since he's going through a financial crisis. The man comes up with this wonderful idea. He's got the two women that he wants to be with. And now he wants a family. But not only does he want to have children, he also decides, you know what? Since lesbians are with women, and since they can't procreate without a man, I'm going to go and I'm going to sleep with a bunch of lesbians and get them pregnant, and they're just going to pay me money to impregnate them. So in order to have my sperm, they're going to pay me a large sum of money for my sperm so that their lesbian couple relationships and their lesbian marriages, they can have children in their relationship. And then that's going to support me financially, and I'm going to be back wealthy again, and I'll support my relationship with my lesbian couple, because now I have lesbians and I'm the man, and I'm going to make all this money from other lesbians. And he does it successfully. Next thing you know, everybody who is a lesbian is coming to see him and sleeping with him. And he's getting all these women pregnant, and they produce all these children. And then the movie goes off. The movie ends. I was so disappointed. I was actually really upset about this movie. I mean, for one, I identify as a lesbian, and I was excited to see Black lesbian women in film. And I had no clue about the plot or how the movie would play out. And so I was pretty shocked seeing it, because there's so much in this movie that I can just dissect and basically debunk, because this movie does not represent true lesbianism. What this movie represents is the male fantasy of conquering lesbians, of exploiting lesbians, of male dominance and male power. It's really upsetting, because this is depicted in film, in movies, and the media, and people believe often what they see. So what you're viewing in this film is a false, severe misrepresentation of lesbians and of Black lesbian women, but of all lesbian women, because these women that he was sleeping with in the movie, they were various women from all races and nationalities. They were all women who identify as lesbians. So this movie depicts a fictitious view of lesbianism. And I was really disgusted with the movie. I was disappointed, because I like all of the actors and actresses, and like I said earlier, I enjoy Spike Lee films, but this one, it was a failure, because this is what lesbian erasure is about. It's about the erasure of lesbian women because of the male pride and toxic masculinity. And we live in a patriarchal society, which deeply influences the world that all women desire to be with a man at the end of the day. And that men will exploit women financially. Like he used these lesbian women to earn a living, to support himself financially by impregnating them, giving them children, which also clearly indicates that a man always thinks that a lesbian relationship is not fruitful or productive because she's not able to procreate without a man. And this film depicts that all women who say that they're lesbians are lying, that they really want a man. And that ultimately, in the end, the man always wins. He always wins the lesbian over because she ends up bowing down to his demands because she needs a man. it depicts that lesbian relationships are not successful unless a man is involved. And that's why I talk about these polygyny relationships. They are rooted in male dominance, male conceit, and patriarchal standpoints. A man actually founded and created polygyny, not a woman. So when you get a chance, check the movie out. It's actually very informative. You know, you can learn from the movie. I did. And it pretty much confirmed the way I knew how men viewed lesbians. And this is lesbian erasure. And I absolutely hate how it's in film, because Spike Lee is a very famous director. He's been around for years. But this one, no. It's an epic lesbian film failure. And I actually am a supporter and advocate of all lesbian films. Like if it's a documentary, if it's a web series, if it's a play, if it's on the movie screen, if it's on cable, I don't care what form of medium that it is produced in. Real lesbian depictions of ourselves need to be created and disseminated in society. We need to be represented accurately as lesbian women all over the world. And here's another thing. Spike Lee is a man. And yes, he's a black man. So he's influencing the movie because he's the director of the movie. So a man can never understand the mindset of a lesbian because he is not a lesbian. And I have videos on my YouTube channel that I've created. I have watched lesbian adult films and many lesbian movies and series, and I've advocated and I've recommended that women research who the directors and the producers of these films are, because a lot of them are men, and therefore they're going to give you a false depiction of lesbianhood. We need more films and movies and books and representation from women who are lesbians, because our voices matter. How we are played in films and movies and books and television is so important, because there's a young girl who's watching and listening, and she needs to know the truth about herself, because she's a lesbian and she doesn't need to be harassed by men who demand that she be with a man. And this impacts us on up into adulthood as women. The movie is She Hate Me. You can watch it for yourself and decide for yourself. But this is my lesbian perspective. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like my content. That way the message can spread and get out there. Share the message. Share the video. I appreciate you, all those who do so. Thank you for listening. My name is Giselle Wallace.